Charlie, boys and girls. He's in Mrs. Meyer's pre-K class. And Charlie, you are our hero today and always. You've been through a lot, Charlie. You and your family. And we look to you and we think, wow, look at this handsome young boy here. He's healthy, look at that smile. You know what, Charlie? You're our hero. Let's go. It's Charlie's half birthday today. And so let's all sing happy birthday to Charlie. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Charlie. Happy birthday to you.
Good afternoon. For those that don't know me, my name is Shelby. I'm so excited to be here and share Charlie's heart story as you hold your Heart Hero Challenge today for the American Heart Association. I'm guessing that many of you have seen my children, Maya and Charlie, wandering the halls in red shirts with a green Nemo on them. These red shirts represent a lot for Charlie. That tiny Nemo represents his life and his ability to just keep swimming, despite the everyday ups and downs that he faces. Seeing his outgoing and nothing can stop me attitude, I bet you would never guess that Charlie has a special heart, as well as a shopping cart full of other problems. Charlie is 1 in 100. 1 in 100 children born with a congenital heart defect. When he was 2 months old, we learned that Charlie had a heart problem, a problem that he was born with. Charlie's specific heart problems, or what we often call CHDs, are mitral stenosis, mitral regurgitation, and pulmonary hypertension. What this means is that one of his valves in his heart was too narrow and wasn't allowing blood to flow properly. Imagine like trying to drink a thick milkshake with a straw. This particular valve in his heart also didn't like to close together, like having a set of double doors and one of them won't close all the way. This caused his heart to be larger than it should have been and gave him a lot of trouble breathing. The only way to fix this was with open heart surgery. When Charlie was just 2 months old, he had his first heart surgery. They were able to try and fix his heart by adding a piece of cow tissue to it. As cows are my absolute favorite animal, I thought this was pretty cool. Crazy, right? Putting a piece of cow into a baby? Sadly, Charlie's heart was not as excited about him becoming part cow as I was. A few weeks after he had been sent home from the hospital, Charlie got very sick. We took him back to the hospital, where we discovered his lungs were filling up with blood that couldn't make it through his heart. They put a tube down his throat to help him breathe. By the grace of God, Charlie survived that night. Charlie was in the hospital getting nice and strong, and about a week later would have his second open heart surgery. This time, they put a metal valve in his heart. Think of it like getting a flat tire on your bike. If the one you have gets a hole, you get a new one, a better one. The problem with putting metal where tissue should be is that it doesn't grow. So, we were told that Charlie would need to get a new metal valve put in 2 to 7 years. In the meantime, he would need to be on medicine that would make sure nothing got stuck to his heart. This would mean extra appointments and extra needle pokes to make sure it was doing its job right. Charlie had a really time healing after his surgery this time. He had trouble breathing, problems with medicines, and he was ready to go home. He spent almost a month in the hospital this time, but he made it home just in time for Christmas. A couple of weeks later, Charlie got sick again. He was having a lot of trouble breathing, coughing, and he was not getting better. This time, without knowing what was really wrong with him, they gave us an ambulance ride to the hospital. Once we were there, it took them 2 weeks of running tests to discover he had what they call a paravalvular leak on the side of that new metal valve. What that means is that just outside of it there was a tiny hole, about the size of a mechanical pencil lead. Again, the only way to fix the problem was with open heart surgery. This was a surgery that Charlie's hospital had not done before. This was a risky surgery, but it was needed. Before Charlie went back for surgery, I remember telling the surgeon as he explained to me what they were going to do, "I know, I trust you." I had to trust him, and I had to trust God. Charlie was in surgery that day for 7.5 hours, longer than an entire day of school. It took many tries to find that tiny hole. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack. By the grace of God, it was found. Charlie healed quicker than expected, and he was able to go home again, just shy of another month in the hospital. After 3 open-heart surgeries in under 4 months, we seemed to be heading in the right direction. Finally, Charlie could finally begin to move forward. Charlie spent months with therapists to help him grow like a normal baby. He went to speech therapy where he had to eat for an hour at a time, 4 days a week for 6 weeks, to help him learn to swallow right. He spent 1 to 2 days a week with a physical therapist who helped him get strong enough to roll, crawl, stand, and even walk. The smallest of accomplishments became huge things. Charlie would begin to have a lot of trouble with breathing, getting sick, and the ability of his lungs to keep up with him. He began to see a new doctor for this and was diagnosed with asthma, reactive airway disease, and eventually the words lung disease were used. As a result of repeat heart surgeries, breathing tubes, and a weakened immune system. This past summer, Charlie began a special type of treatment called IVIG. This was to help improve his immune system. This has helped to minimize illness, ER visits, and hospitalizations. This is done by running medicine into Charlie, which is done through his port, a small area in his chest that was surgically placed to draw blood and give medicine through. We repeat this process every 4 weeks to help keep him strong. Most recently, Charlie was hospitalized over Thanksgiving. His heart went into atrial flutters. In other words, it wasn't beating like it should. To fix this, Charlie had to be put to sleep, and they placed pads on his chest and back, and they shocked him, similar to jump-starting a car. Since then, Charlie's heart is being watched very closely. His next open heart surgery is currently on the line. At this time, it has not been scheduled. He is undergoing repeat testing to be sure that it is scheduled in the best interests of Charlie, not too soon, not too late. In the last 3 years, Charlie has met a number of doctors and nurses in a number of specialty areas. He holds several friends within the departments of the Newell Medical Center and Children's Hospitals of Minnesota and Minneapolis. His current statistics include 3 open heart surgeries, 4 general surgeries, 2 cardiac CTs, 3 head CTs, surprisingly only 1 resulting in a concussion, all of the x-rays, all of them, and a lot of respiratory issues that they've revealed. Oh, and 1 broken finger, more blood draws than anyone could count, 1 blood infection, echocardiograms and EKGs in numbers I can't keep track of, 24 current medications, 2 top-of-the-line family physicians, 8 hand-picked specialists, and 1 amazing heart surgeon, just to name a few. Charlie's medical life often takes priority over many other things. It has to. It is a disease that not only affects Charlie, but the entire family. It is a lifelong disease that keeps us living on the edge of our seats, waiting for the next problem to arise. There is no cure for CHD. CHD is the #1 birth defect, and yet one of the most under-researched. Charlie is here with us today, by the grace of God, smiling, happy, and growing, because of advancements in research of the congenital heart defects and heart disease. So today, whether you are here as a participant or a spectator, I want to thank you. The support and ongoing research that is provided through organizations such as the American Heart Association saves lives, lives like Charlie's.